1st of November, and wow, that clock change has made a massive difference to things that I'm getting done in the garden. Really feel like there is literally not enough daylight hours. Feel like I'm a little bit behind everybody else, but in today's episode I will be planting out my garlic. I have prepped the bed ready for that, given it a bit of a rake and a weed, added a thin layer of my own homemade compost, and then I have added some bagged farmyard manure on top of there. Now I know that it is actually quite strange to think that I am buying farmyard manure to put on the beds, and I have to say it was a cause of a little bit of angst between me and Duncan. But I don't believe that the manure I have ready in that compost bin is quite ready to be used as a mulch on top of the beds at the moment. So anything that is being planted now, I am putting the bagged farmyard manure on. Any of the beds that will be left empty that I won't be planting in until next spring, they're going to get our manure put on there and hope that the frost will help to break it down over winter, ready for planting next year. I have also put up a set of these metal cloche hoops, and I get these from First Tunnels. I'll be putting some more in later. Ready to take the mesh that will be protecting this garlic as soon as it's planted. Now, because I've said we do run out of daylight hours at the moment, I think I should do a little bit less waffling and get straight on with getting the garlic in this bed. Now, I didn't grow that much garlic last year because it's not something that I eat myself, but the family do love garlic and they have requested that I grow more this year. So I've got some different varieties. So I'll just show you what I am going to grow. These ones here are my own saved cloves. This is cork white, and this is probably the most favoured garlic that I grew last year. They weren't the biggest of bulbs, so they're not the biggest of cloves either, but I'm going to give them a go. And then in this bag, I have some Provence white. So the Provence white is a soft neck, and the cork white was the hard neck. So I'll be growing those. And then I have bought this bulb. This bulb is called Germador, so I'm going to be splitting this bulb up and planting that as well. Apparently this is an earlier cropping variety, so as suggested, I'm hoping I'll be able to harvest these ones first. This envelope has 4 cloves of elephant garlic. I mean, look at the size of those compared to my cloves of garlic. Absolutely huge, aren't they? Amazing. Now, I didn't buy these. These were given to me by Kerry from Dog on the Plot. So thank you very much for that, Kerry. And actually, Kerry is so close to 3,000 subscribers. So if you'd like to hop over to her channel after you've watched this video, not before, and give her a subscribe, I'm sure she'd be really grateful. Let's get it to 3,000 subscribers. So anyway, these do need a lot more room. So I have 4 cloves and I will space them out at the bottom of the bed. And I'm just going to see how many more of the other ones that I can get in, which means that a full bed is being given over to garlic this year, which is probably not a lot of production. You might be growing a lot more than me, but that seems a lot for me. It's already given me slight anxiety of how much room I'm giving over to garlic when I'm starting planning how I'm growing things next year. I've already made the labels, but what I'm going to do first is just lie them out and get an idea of the spacing for them. I believe the more space that you give them, the chance you have of a bigger bulb. And also, I'm trying to reduce the risk of rust. I didn't have it last year. I realised as this was a new vegetable garden for this season, that probably did reduce my risk of rust, but I'm sure it's going to catch up with me at some point. So I'm trying to be mindful of that as well. So I think I'm going to have the 4 cloves of elephant garlic on this end, hoping that 4 along there is okay. And then I'll pick up these cork whites. Not sure why I put my gloves on yet, because it's probably not going to be helpful right now. And then I plan on doing these in a sort of a number 5, like this. Next along it will be the Provence white. Look at that, just the right amount there. Now all I need to do is separate the cloves of this Germador. Now, even though that one has already started sprouting, I probably won't plant that one because, as you can see, it's absolutely tiny next to these other ones, as well as that one has got a little extra bit on the side, hasn't it? That sounds good, doesn't it? An extra bit on the side. That's never good for anybody. I'm quite happy with the spacing now, so all I need to do is get them planted. Now, I have a big dibber. This was a birthday present, thank you very much. You know who you are. Oh yes, that worked. Just in case you're unaware, pointy end to the top, flat end has the roots on, and that will be at the bottom. First one's done. I have to say, planting the garlic seems quite a monumental thing to me because it's one of the first things that I planted on this plot last year, and I keep thinking to myself that this is, a brand new plot, and relatively speaking it is, but actually I've gone a full circle, haven't I? And this is the first thing that is full circle for me, to be planting garlic out again. This bed had peas in all over summer, and I felt like garlic following the peas was quite a good idea. Well, that's those all in, and it really has just hit me how important in some ways it is. Definitely feels quite a significant thing to have been planting garlic in this plot for the second time. Now, obviously, I also need to cover the bed. Garlic is a member of the allium family. I'm hoping that I have enough here. Looks like I should. This is black environmental mesh. I'll just start at this side, gathering it together using a cable tie to make quite a tight sort of ponytail out of it, so to speak. And I'll go around the other side and do the same. And then all I do is use these little plastic clips and I just peg it to the end of the bed. Do the same on this side as well. I'm really pleased to get those in the ground, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving this black enviro mesh. If you look at this in comparison to the brassica bed behind me and the leeks in the top corner, look how unobtrusive this black mesh is and how well you can see through it to see your crops within it. So I think everything is going to move over to that eventually. Now, if you're thinking of swapping over to this black mesh, then I will put the links for it in the description because I'm going to be using some debris netting next on the brassicas. So let's get and do those. Now what you're going to notice first with this bed is that lots of things have gone out of here. I've taken the cosmos out, I have taken what was left of the calendula out of here as well, and I've had to remove the windmill, which is sitting here behind me. That's going to have to probably stay there until these are out of here early next year, and it might get brought back then for the summer crops. So this bed has had the same treatment in terms of I've put a layer of compost on here, and I've put some more of the farmyard manure on here and driven these little road pins into the ground, but obviously I haven't yet made up these hoops. I think these are $11.99 each. I have the 1.2 metre wide version. I'll just knock those steel road pins into the ground and push these over the top. And yeah, it wobbles a little bit, but it's not going to fall over. Oops. And that's it, it is quite simple. And what I like about these is they will last forever, won't they? I do have bamboo canes and you can make things up, but I tried that with those little connecting balls, but they weren't as secure as this kind of structure. And I like the fact that they're oval, so it's quite easy to unclip one side of the bed and sort of pull it halfway up. Whereas if you've got a square frame on the bed, that's just not quite so straightforward. Join me in the greenhouse now, where we have to decide what we're going to plant in that bed that we have just prepared. And I'm thinking I'm not going to put any purple sprouting broccoli in there. That does grow quite tall, so it would make sense for me to put that in the polytunnel. But on the basis of having a bit of a comparison, I feel like I should put some cauliflowers outside as well as some cabbage, and then put the rest of those also in the polytunnel. So I'm thinking that maybe if I plant... Actually, I think I have some here behind me, some spares behind me, don't I? So if I pick these cauliflower, I have 3 here and another one behind me. Ooh, there's a slug underneath there, so I will check them for slugs before I take them outside. So we will have these 3 cauliflowers. In fact, I might have 4 cauliflowers, so I'll take one of those as well anyway. And then they're the purple sprouting broccoli. And these here are the cabbages. There's no slugs under there at the moment. I've only got 6 cabbages here, so what I will do is just take 3 of these cabbages. Okay, 3 really strong ones. Now what I've just done is put them all in one of these garland trays that I keep in this greenhouse. So I'm thinking 3 cabbages and 4 cauliflower should be enough to put in there over winter. I'm going to see if I can protect these as best as I can from slugs, because I have to say I'm really quite anxious about planting these almost perfect looking babies outside. So what I really need to do is consider where I'm going to put 7 things in this bed, and hopefully that is enough space for them. I don't want to get them mixed up just yet, but I do want to give them plenty of room. Put that one there, and then I'll have this one here. Now, first things first, I can see a slug there in the bed, and one of these pots, there's that one, had a slug underneath it. I think it was only that one. Got some really good roots on them, hopefully. Looking good. Ooh, look at that. Really pleased with that. Now, I've definitely been told before that brassicas do like to be planted quite firmly in the ground, so it might look a bit rough when you're really pressing them in, but apparently that's what they like. And I've also got a packet of these cabbage collars, which do help with cabbage root fly. So I am going to be putting these around the base of the plants. Just open them up and wrap them around. Sometimes I find it a bit difficult when they're a little bit bigger as well and quite bushy, so I will oftentimes put one each side and overlap them that way. That's one. I'll go ahead and get the rest of them planted. I am happy with how they are all planted, but that isn't the end of my defences for these. They are going to be covered, but before I put a cover over them, I am actually going to put some mulch around them as well. I'm happy with the spacing of these. I'm really pleased to get these in the ground, but there are quite a lot of slugs about. Now the cabbages at the other end of the vegetable garden, I did show you in the plot tour last week, I've been suddenly ravaged by slugs. So I've been out and bought a few bags of mulch because I found it really good for me early on in the season. And I know that they don't have much to eat now as the beds are getting emptier. So slugs are going to be quite a bit of a problem until we get really cold weather, I'm going to guess. So I'm going to mulch this bed and hopefully that will be enough defences to protect these cabbages for a while. I'd like to say that now they're a little bit bigger than just teeny tiny seedlings, that they'll be stronger to survive the slug attacks, but seeing the state of those ones at the other end of the garden, I'm not so sure about that now. Now I buy my mulch from the local plant nursery. I think it's £24 for 2 bags, and it does go a fair way, but you do have to put it on quite thick. And it does smell. I mean, I don't mind the smell of it, but I don't particularly want my clothes to smell of it, so I am just pulling my sleeves back a little bit. Now you only need a ring around your plants technically if you're doing it for slug defences, but I find that it's really good for keeping the weeds at bay as well. So I'm just going to kind of cover the entire bed with it, thicker around the plants, but just try and help with some weed growth before we get to that really dormant season. Exactly the same as last time, we're going to put a cover over these, but this time I'm using debris netting because all I need to do is keep butterflies and the pigeons off of these. Now if I've measured rightly, I have bought this in I think it's 10 metres by 3 metres, because I need 5 metres by 3 metres to cover my 8-foot by 4-foot beds. Now I probably should have made this up before I put the plants in, because now I'm just dragging this over the plants. It's not too bad. And this time what I'm going to do is, because this is so much thicker, I'm going to be putting this on quite loosely so that I can titivate with it shortly and get it looking just so. Then I'm just going to stand on this end now and stick that on the ridge bar just so it can't pull it over too far when I do the other side. And then if I come to this side now, I should be able to pull the edges and pull the top a bit. It's a bit neater. And now I can cut through this bit that's left, and then what's left here should do a second bed. Oh dear. Right, that took a lot longer than expected. Now I should cut this end as well, but it was too traumatic to cut the other end. So I'll have to wait a bit to do this end. Get some sharper scissors out of the house. There's another bed planted up. Now I've just got to try and fold this up. This is when I need another pair of hands. Now, although it's very grey and miserable, it hasn't actually rained for a few days. So what I'm going to do is just water these in lightly, just to help them settle. I think now it's actually time to get this bed clear. I have some phacelia seeds and I know it's a little bit late to sow them, but again, we don't have any frost forecast in the next few weeks on my long range forecast. So I think I'm just going to give it a try. Get these harvested, get these removed because they are dying back and I'm a bit worried that there's a little bit of rust starting on some of them as well. And let's just see what we get out of these sweet corn. Now, I'm being optimistic. I do have a harvest basket, so I'm hoping there'll be something worth taking home. These covers seem to have done me a really good turn because I haven't had any disturbed by wildlife that have been covered with those. Let's pull this one off first. Let's have a look inside. They were sown really, really late. Oh, wow! Look! They have finally gone a darker yellow. Wow! They are absolutely amazing. Did not expect to get that late crop. Look at that. Look at that. Brilliant. Wow, I'm so excited now. Let's have a look at this one. I know I don't need to keep opening them, but I have this urge to. I'm a bit worried whether I've left them too long now. Again, look at them. Wow. Oh, I did not expect to get a really good harvest of sweet corn this time of year, so just goes to show that it was worth giving it a go. It's paid off. Oh, wow. How many are there? Oh, this is another big one. Oh, I broke that off with it. Let's have a look at another one. It's November the 1st and I'm taking home sweet corn. Wow, I say taking home, I live here. I'm taking it in the house is what I should say. Wow. Duncan's going to be so pleased because it really is the thing that he was most excited about me growing. This one's huge, absolutely enormous. size of this one. Oh, it's like a double cob. So it's one cob. This is really unusual. So it's one cob, but it feels almost double somehow. How weird. Oh, it was a double cob. I was right. Look, there's little baby cobs in the bottom of it there. How cool is that? Look at that. Wow. Oh, I'm so proud of that. Those tiny baby ones. Really, really weird. Have you ever seen that before? Because obviously I haven't grown very frequently, so it's not something that I've seen before. Can't get over that. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 cobs. Wow. Really, really pleased with that. Now, whilst I'm here, I also want to take these borlotti beans off because we've just got some really, really damp weather at the moment. So they're just not drying. Although it's not raining, they're not drying any more than they were. In fact, they're quite soggy every morning. So I feel like it would just be wise to take them off. And I'm happy to report that yet again, I haven't had any more of these munched since I put them in these organza bags. And I do like that I bought some green ones because they didn't like kind of stand out quite so much as obviously the white ones would. Everything's harvested off of here now, so that just means all I need to do is empty this bed. Right, now, what I have planned for this bed is this bag of phacelia seed. Now, I don't think I'm going to put the whole bag of phacelia seed on here. I know it is actually a bit too late to do this, so if they don't germinate, then that's no big deal. I'll just, in another month or so, put some manure on here to rot down over winter. But I'm going to give this a go. And I'm finding that, you know, I've had these seeds for ages, but I've found that the issue that I've had is that in wanting to do cover crops, I haven't had the beds empty early enough for the cover crops to go in. So I'm not quite sure that it's something that I'll do a lot moving forward. And I don't know why I'm doing it with my right hand either. Now, phacelia is actually really, really pretty and is a nitrogen fixer. So the benefit of having it, if it does go to flower, is that it will provide much needed early feed for the pollinators. And then I'm going to chop and drop it before it sets seeds itself. And then I will put a layer of mulch on top. And I'm spreading it out quite liberally. I don't know how liberally you are supposed to spread it, but I'm going to account for the fact that I suspect quite a bit of it will disappear. I'll just give it a very light raking over. Unfortunately, it's so wet that it's a bit clumpy. Just to cover some of them up a bit. Now, as an extra defence against the birds, I am just going to put this piece of mesh on the bed. I'll just put a couple of bricks on the ends. I don't think it would fly up, but you never know. Just peg that edge down there. So move the bar out of the way. I just put another one in this side as well. Oh, I'm happy with that. I can't tell you how happy I was that there was no rats in there then. I have been using the compost stirring auger thing to keep disturbing them and hope that that puts them off. And also I was advised to water the compost heap because they don't like that as well. So as it's going dark, all that remains for me to do today is process this into the compost heap. So I'll carry on with that. Then I'll catch you in the next video where I'll be preparing the polytunnel for winter. I'll see you then. Look after yourselves. Bye.